Hello and welcome to the Presero training series. In this lesson, we will be reviewing the General tab located within Preferences General Settings of the Presero admin. We will begin with by logging into the Presero admin with the username and the password. Once logged in, go to the Preferences tab and click on General Settings. You can enter your information about your organization here. This will be used by default in various places within your storefront and website. When you signed up for Presero, some of this information was filled in for you. The first option is the company name. This will be used as your company name throughout your sites and in the notification email to identify yourself to your customers. You can override what company name your customer sees on a side-by-side basis by using the broker functionality. You can read more about the broker setup in a support article chapters or can see the broker video. Short company name. This field was useful in the prior versions of Presero but may now safely be left blank. Default time zone. This will be used for all the sites you create. It can be overridden on a side-by-side or user-by-user basis. The time zone is used to timestamp orders and emails. Allow user impersonation. User impersonation allows you to log in into a site as any site user without needing their credentials. This will assist you with supporting your users and allow you to place orders for a user. When turned on, you will notice that under the site setting, a blue arrow icon will appear next to each site user. Clicking this arrow will log in into the site as that user. Let me show you how this is going to work. If I go to the site users, on every site user, I have a blue icon and I can simply click on the blue arrow icon and I will be logged into the site directly. This is the functionality of allow user impersonation. Site for FTP and proofs. There are two features that are not site specific. Proofs and FTP upload need a website to send notification from and to display to your customers. If you use Presero to create a website for your company, or you have a B2C site that is also used as your company website, then this is an easy choice. If you are only using Presero to offer B2B sites, you will not want to use one of those sites to send proofs and accept file upload since it will be confusing to other customers. It is recommended that in that cases to create a simple website to use for these two features. For proofs, if you go to the Tools menu, click on Proofs, you can click on Add New, browse the file, you can select the site name, you can also select the email, and click on Send Proof. As soon as I hit on Send Proof, an email will be triggered. Under Tools, you will find this feature and proofs can be used for any of your customers regardless if they have a storefront or not. You and your staff can send out proofs to the customers. And likewise, they will be notified by the email that will have a proof available to approve. Let's go back to the Preferences and General Settings. This was all about proof. Now for the FTP, each of the Presero packages allow for a certain number of private FTP sites and also for general for file upload. This is also used as the FTP location for the customers using an FTP client such as Fetch, WSFTP, etc. to send you the files. Please note if they use their web browser instead for the FTP, they can access the FTP at any site you add an FTP link to. For example, this is one of my navigation menu for the FTP. I click on the FTP and I would require an FTP account access. In order to log in here, the FTP account must be created under the Preferences FTP Accounts. Let's say if I log into the FTP, once logged in, you will be landed to a page where it says Manage FTP and you can add your files here. This was all about site for FTP and proofs. ReCaptcha. ReCaptcha version 2 is a free service from the Google that protect your website from spam and abuse. ReCaptcha uses an advanced risk analysis engine and adaptive challenges to keep automated software from engaging in abusive activities on your site. It does this while allowing your valid users to pass through with this ease. The very first thing, you must set up a ReCaptcha version 2 account with the Google and register the domain you intend to use with this Presero account before enabling ReCaptcha on your Presero site. You would need to obtain some informations like site key and the secret key from Google and enter them as described below. Once you fetch all the information, this is enabling the reCAPTCHA at a preferences level. You can also implement the reCAPTCHA for your site by enabling it at the site level. Login security. The login security area in general settings enables you to customize the login security features of your site. When a user has number of unsuccessful login attempts with a certain period of time, they are automatically logged out and unable to try again for a specific time. By default, users are logged out for 10 minutes after 10 failed attempts within a 10-minute window. This feature cannot be disabled, but you can change the number of attempts allowed, the time frame in which those attempts can take place, and the time that a user is logged out after they reach the maximum login attempts. Master password. This is the default password that will be used to log into the site with user impersonation. Maximum login attempts. This is the number of field login attempts allowed within the retry period defined in retry time limit. By default, this is set to 10 attempts. The minimum number of attempts is 5 and the maximum is 20. Retry time limit. This is the length of the time in minutes in which the number of failed login attempts defined in maximum login attempts are allowed before a lockout occurs. By default, this is set to 10 minutes. The minimum number of minutes is 5 and the maximum is 20. Lockout time period. This is the number of minutes that a particular user IP address is locked out once a lockout is triggered. By default, this is set to 10 minutes. The minimum number of minutes is 10 and the maximum is 60. When a user has 2 attempts remaining, they will receive a message stating you have 2 remaining attempts before your account will be disabled. If you have forgotten your password, please select the reset password link. You can also set the password expires validity as to never, 60 days, 90 days, or 180 days. Email settings. Presebo will send email notifications related to various storefront activities such as new orders, etc. These settings apply to the email notifications that are generated from the system for activity in your stores. To, to, to change these settings, go to the Preferences General Settings and look for the section of Email. SMTP server, SMTP port, account name, and password. are optional. If you would like the emails to be generated from your own email server, you will enter the necessary information here. It is recommended that you wait until you are done with your setup and have completed testing before making this change. If after making the change the email arrives from an address you did not specify, there is a configuration issue with your information you have entered. Hence, you need to verify the information that you fetch here. Please note, if you leave these areas blank, the emails will be generated from the island server. Your customer will be unaware of this, but you will not receive any customer replies to the messages sent by the storefront. Typically, the emails generated are not intended to have a reply, but occasionally a customer may use a notification to get additional information to you. The email account name should be text set to a box that is checked on a regular basis because of this. Sender display name. Use this area to configure what the recipient of the email will see in the from field of the notification. Sender display email. As with the sender display name described above, this is what will display in the from email address field of your email your customer receives. You can always override these settings from the site as well. SSL enabled. If your server requires SSL support, be sure to check this box. And this is the subscriber logo for your Presero admin. This was all about the general settings in the preferences area. Thank you for watching this video.